Hey, how's it going? Kenny here and welcome back to Tactic Testing. And up in today's video, I'll be testing the tactic PEP loves a goal. It's a very interesting tactic, as you can see here, set up with 5 at the back system. Got 3 ball playing defenders in there, 2 inverted wing backs on attack, a roaming playmaker, 2 attacker midfielders and 2 advanced forwards as well. It's a very intriguing tactic in my opinion. I do worry about the midfield area though, to tell you the truth. Obviously there's not really a ball midfielder type player in there, no sort of defensive minded player in the midfield there. But saying that, going forward the midfield should look very good. As you can see, both the wing backs as inverted wing backs on attack will help in that midfield area. Roaming playmaker support as well, of course. But it's just that this area here that I do worry about with this tactic. I'm guessing though, with the 3 centre backs, it will help with that dilemma there a little bit. In terms of the instructions here, we've got positive mentality. Interesting enough, in the in possession instructions here, it's very disciplined, as you can see. Dribble less, be more disciplined as well. Work ball into box. So very patient tactic. But also I expect lots of goals with the tactic as well. In transition, it's very similar to most of the tactics we see here. Counter press, counter, distribute quickly and roll it out as well. And out of possession, much higher defensive line, high press as well, trigger press much more often. So it's a very intense tactic, very patient tactic as well. Interested to see how it will work for the 3 clubs I've selected here. I've selected Aston Villa, Man City of course, being a tactic named after PEP, and Southampton, the 3 clubs to test this tactic out for the season. As I always say as well, this is not my creation. If you're interested in check out the guy who created this tactic, the link will be in the description below. So without further ado, I'm going to test out the first team. I'm going to test out Aston Villa first of all. I'm going to go on holiday. I'm going to select use current match tactics and let's see how they get on. Well, of course, Aston Villa in real life are having a blinding second half of the season and potentially could even qualify for the Champions League places. I think they've left it a bit too late for that. I don't think it's possible, but very realistic chance of playing European football next season. And when you think, when they sacked Gerrard in real life, they look like they might be battling relegation. So Unai Emery's done a fantastic job. In this simulation video here, they're finishing 8th place, which I'd say is pretty good. Pretty much probably where they're finishing in real life now, maybe a bit higher. So maybe a little bit underachieved, but saying that, it's a good season. 56 points, only 5 points off Wolves in 6th place, only 2 points off Newcastle in 7th place, but also was very important, as you can see there, they qualified for the Europa League, and that is because they won the FA Cup. So taking that into consideration, it's been an absolute fantastic season for Aston Villa. 8th in the league, FA Cup winners, and playing European football next season. That is absolutely brilliant. In terms of the Carabao Cup, they got knocked down in the 4th round by Brentford, but not too important. You know, winning the FA Cup with Aston Villa, finishing 8th in the league, that is absolutely fantastic. So they've had a brilliant season. Let's actually check out the league table in full here then. Ollie Watkins having a great season in real life as well. Great second half of the season. He finished second top goal scorer behind Erling Haaland, so it doesn't really count, does he? He's basically finished as top goal scorer, Ollie Watkins, because Erling Haaland just always finishes as a top goal scorer. 21 goals for him. That is really nice. They won 17 games in the season, so almost half the games. Drew 5, lost 16. So not many draws in the season for Villa. Either win or lose. Going forward, 66 goals. Pretty good, pretty decent. 61 goals conceded, bit on the high side. But saying that, they ended up with a positive goal difference. Just finished out the top 7, but qualified for the Europa League, of course, anyway, because they won the FA Cup. So, yeah, brilliant season from Aston Villa. Let's check out the data hub here. Let's have a quick look at this. In terms of general performance, goals per game, it's higher than average, you can see there. And even the non-penalty XG per 90 minutes is much higher as well. So, they're creating lots of chances, as you expect. Conceded per game, yeah, they conceded more than average, but it's not completely disastrous, you know. It's a high amount of goals to concede, but not completely terrible at the back there. XG against per game as well is just about average, so maybe they could have done a little bit better in the conceding department there. Shots per game is above average as well. So all in all, it looks like a great season for Villa. Very happy with that. Let's check out some of the results here as well. Who they beat in the FA Cup final? They actually beat... Wow, okay. Well, they had to win the FA Cup final, really. They beat Blackburn in the final 3-0. Ollie Watkins with a hat-trick there. Who they beat to get to the final, though? Well, you can see there, look. They beat Man City 5-3 in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. What a game that must have been. What a game. Went 1-0 down in the game as well. And they came back to win 5-3. They also beat Middlesbrough in the quarter-final. Beat Leeds in the 5th round as well. Brighton in the 4th round. And Notts County in the 3rd round. So they've had some favourable ties in the FA Cup. But I think it's safe to say it doesn't really matter. They beat Man City in the FA Cup semi-final in a neutral venue as well. So then, even though they beat Blackburn in the final, they won the FA Cup there by beating Man City 5-3. So fantastic from Aston Villa there. How do they start off the season? They started off the season absolutely flying, actually. They won 5 of the first 6 games, which is brilliant. Had a bit of a poor run of form here. October and November lost a lot of games, but they lost to Man City, Tottenham, Liverpool, etc. So not too bad. They also lost 5-2 to Brentford in the Carabao Cup 4th round. So heavy defeat there, but yeah, great season. Great season. Had a poor run of form in April as well, losing 3-1, 5-1 and 4-1, but ended the season strongly again. And FA Cup winners. What more can you ask for from Aston Villa than that? Absolutely brilliant. In terms of the squad, who was best player of the season? Well, I think it's safe to say Ollie Watkins was the best player of the season. 28 goals and 9 assists in 45 games. Brilliant from him. Probably saying me best player of the season for Villa in real life as well. Fantastic from him. Coutinho as well. Brilliant in his position there. 14 goals and 14 assists. Interesting to see where they're actually playing him. They're playing as the attacking midfielder. Yeah, attacking midfielder. 28 goal involvements in 44 games. That is brilliant. Jacob Ramsey as well, a brilliant season, 8 goals and 11 assists. John Duran, I'm quite surprised about that. He had a great season, 18 goals and 10 assists. Maybe he's definitely one for the future for Aston Villa, only 19 years of age. I actually called him up for the first team for the sake of the simulation, and it seems like it was a wise decision because he's been absolutely fantastic. Even Bertrand Traore started only 2 games the entire season and still ended up with an average rating of 7.03. That is quite impressive, to tell you the truth. Who was the poor player of the season then? Well, Luca Digne didn't have a great season, to tell you the truth. Diego Carlos as well. He obviously started off the season injured though. Douglas Luiz wasn't great, but going forward was really good. Watkins, Coutinho, Ramsey and Duran had brilliant seasons. So for Aston Villa, it was a brilliant tactic in my opinion. 8th in the league, which is good. Probably above average what you expect from Villa. More like a 10th place team. I know they're higher than that in real life, but they're doing really well. So 8th is great. But to make it a really fantastic season, winning the FA Cup, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, let's check out the next team in the list. Let's check out Man City. Before we get started with Man City, guys, please remember that if you do like this video, hit that like button for me. It's really important. And also, if you're new around here, do consider hitting that subscribe button as well. It'd really help me out, and he much appreciated as well. So, the guy who created the tactic actually tested out with Tottenham in his test out on his page. But, you know, seeing as it's named after Pep loves a goal, I just thought, you know what, I have to test it at Man City. It's named after the man himself. And, well, looking at the tactic here, looking at the players, surely it's got to be successful, right? Surely it's got to be successful. I think it's kind of similar to the way they play in real life. Of course, they don't play with 3 at the back. And also they've got Rodri in there. But other than that, you'd say it's kind of similar, I'd say. Kind of a similar tactic. So hopefully they do quite well. Do worry about the left-back situation, left-wing-back situation. You know, they struggle with left-back in real life, of course. It doesn't really matter in Man City, but a left-wing-back, they struggle even more, to tell you the truth. Sergio Gomez, you know, you've got Rico Lewis as well. Nathan Ake's not really a wing-back, so that's the only problem I can see with the team, to be honest. But other than that, surely it's got to be a successful tactic of Man City. Surely it's got to be goals galore. Well, unfortunately for Man City, it has been really, really underwhelming. 2nd in the league, only 81 points in Man City. That's disappointing, really. You should expect to get at least 90 points in Man City. If not, that's a poor season, in my opinion. And 2nd in the league is really, really poor. Only 2 points behind Liverpool, but it's not exactly a high points tally for the winners of the Premier League, is it? 83 points, you know. 81 points. Some seasons you might be lucky to get 4th place in that sort of points tally. So they've been even lucky to get 2nd in the league, to be honest. It's really, really poor. The Champions League knocked out in his semi-final by Bayern Munich. Of course, the team are knocked out in real life. Semi-final is nothing to be ashamed of, but we're talking about Man City here. Look at that. Ball expectation is win the Champions League. So falling short of expectation there. FA Cup, terrible. Knocked down the 4th round by Southampton. And the Carabao Cup knocked down the 4th round by Man United as well. They did finish the season with silverware, but it's only the Community Shield. Can't really count it too much. Just a very, very poor season. You're probably wondering how I haven't been sacked. Well, I've become unsackable for the editor here for the sake of this video. Otherwise, it would be pointless, wouldn't it? If I got sacked halfway through the season. So, yeah, just a very, very poor season, Man City, this. Semi-final of the Champions League is the biggest thing they can shout about. And there's not that much to shout about when you're one of the best teams in the world, is it really? So, very, very poor. Let's check out the league table in full here then. The goal difference is good, plus 61 goal difference. So they do have Haaland up front, 41 goals for him. Look at this though, interesting. Average rating, the top 3 players, all from Man City. Haaland, De Bruyne and Alvarez. And the top assist as well is De Bruyne and Grealish as well. So it seems a bit silly the fact that they haven't won the league, to be honest. So yeah, really, really poor. 25 wins for the season, as I said, that's not good enough. You expect to see around 30 marks for Man City. 6 draws, but look at that, 7 defeats. 7 defeats to Man City is absolutely shocking. Lost at home to Villa and at home to Leicester as well. Also lost away to Everton. West Ham and Leeds, and lost 5-0 away to Liverpool. Absolutely terrible. Terrible that. They managed to get 100 goals, which is nice, of course, but it's pretty much in vain, really, isn't it? 100 goals, but no league title. Only 39 goals conceded as well, which is obviously just more than one per game, so it's not that bad. I'm kind of scratching my head here, thinking how they've not won the league, to be honest. 39 goals conceded, and 5 of them was against Liverpool as well. 4 against West Ham, lost 4-0 away to West Ham as well, so defensively, apart from the couple of games here, they seem to be quite sound as well, and going forward, banging in the goals for fun. So, yeah, I'm scratching my head a little bit how they did not win the league season here, but yeah, very, very poor that. Very, very poor. Let's check out the data hub as well then. As you can see, goals per game is almost maxed there. Non-penalty XG per 90 as well. Conceded per game is a lot better than average as well. So, looking at as I said, you're scratching your head a little bit how they haven't won the league, but very, very poor. Well, they actually started off the season very, very well. As you can see here, the first 4 games, they won all 4 of them. But they also beat Chelsea 4-1 at home and beat Newcastle 5-0 away. But then they backed it up by losing at home to Leicester 1-0. So that's a shocking defeat, that. They also had some other poor defeats at the start of the season as well. Lost to Atletico Madrid 4-1. Obviously got battered by Liverpool 5-0 as well. They narrowly got knocked out to Man United in the Carabao Cup. Drew 4-4 in that game and then lost on penalties. So that's a bit of a classic there as well. Obviously got knocked out at Southampton 2-1 in the FA Cup. That's really disappointing. Even though they just won the FA Cup, make the season a little bit better, wouldn't it? They won a bit of silverware. Community Shield doesn't count. They won the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, or so, at least they could actually win something. But to not win anything for Man City is absolutely shocking, to tell you the truth. What was the results like against Bayern Munich? They actually knocked Liverpool out in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. They beat them 5-0 at home in the second leg, so they got revenge there. That's nice, but a very, very poor end to the season, that. Very, very poor. They actually only won only 3 of the last 12 games in all competitions. So this is where they lost the league title and the Champions League as well. At this point here, they've knocked out the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, of course, but they're still going for the league title, still going for the Champions League. A lovely double there, be a fantastic season, but they drew at home to Bayern Munich 2-2, which is disappointing, and lost away to them 1-0 as well. And yeah, some poor results in here. Drew away to Leicester 1-1 in the final game of the season as well. They won that game, they would have won the league title. So, yeah, absolutely shocking from Man City. Really, really poor. Let's check out the squad here. No surprises who's going to be the best player of the season. Always happens like this. Erling Haaland with only 54 goals, though. 54 goals in 55 games. Might sound a bit stupid, but the way he is on FootballManager and in real life, of course, he should be getting more goals than games. But saying that, he had got 15 assists as well. So 69 goal involvements in 55 games is definitely not too shabby. Alvarez as well there, 30 goals and 13 assists. Had a terrible end to the season, though. De Bruyne with 8 goals and 14 assists. Grealish as well, 8 goals, 13. And Phil Foden with 12 goals and 11 assists. So going forward, absolutely flying. But unfortunately, in the big games, they really did miss a trick. Losing 5-0 away to Liverpool, shocking. Getting knocked out of Bayern Munich in the Champions League as well. Knocked out of Southampton in the FA Cup, Man United in the Carabao Cup. So yeah, all in all, a very, very poor season with Man City. If the end of the season was different, we could be talking about a whole different season here. But at the end of the day, they have failed. Anyway, let's check out the final team in this video here. Let's check out Southampton. Well, the final team in the video here is Southampton, of course. They're at bottom of the league currently in real life. Had an amazing game against Arsenal last night that I was watching. That was absolutely ridiculous. 3-3 in the end. That was an unbelievable game. But yeah, it looks like still, even after that performance, they'll probably go down in real life. Obviously, they can still survive. Of course, they can still survive. But you're going to back your favourites to get relegated. You'd probably say Southampton, to be honest. Saying that, though, their team of manager is not too bad. Not too bad, in my opinion. Good thing they do have is they've got lots and lots of squad depth. So that is great. But a lot of their players are wingers as well. So obviously, a lot of them will be pretty much useless with this tactic here. Especially if they can't even play in the attacking midfield position, even just competently. So I do worry about Southampton here a little bit. Of course, if Aston Villa are conceding 61 goals, then how much are Southampton going to concede? But how much will they score going forward? Orsic is a good player for manager. Adams is decent as well. Alcaraz looks like a good player. Obviously, Ward-Prowse with his free kicks and corners. So maybe they can survive relegation. I'd say it'll be successful if Southampton do survive relegation. We shall see what they do. Without further ado, let's go on holiday again, use current match tactics, and let's see how they get on. Well, Southampton did survive relegation. They finished 15th in the league, but it doesn't sound that great, but they finished 14 points clear of Leeds in the relegation zone there. And if you see here, there was 15th for a long old time. They made that position their own. They didn't climb anywhere in the league table. They just stayed in 15th the entire season, pretty much, the entire half of the season anyway. But also, look at that. They got to the FA Cup final. Runner-up in the FA Cup as well. So with that into consideration, another great season here. And you know, the surprising thing is, Man City, named after Pep, they're the only ones who failed, really. Aston Villa won the FA Cup, and Southampton got to the final of the FA Cup, whereas with Man City, they actually got knocked out by Southampton. So, yeah, very, very strange, this tactic. You'd think Man City would be very, very successful, but it looks like it works better for the lower league teams. Obviously, Aston Villa more of a mid-table, top-half finish club. Southampton, obviously, a team towards the bottom of the league. So, yeah, 15th in the league, Southampton. Can't complain too much of that. You survive relegation very comfortably. Look to build on it for the next season. And runner-up in the FA Cup. Absolutely brilliant. Let's check out the league table in full here then. Look at that. Orsic with 26 goals for the season. He had an absolute blinding of a season. Absolute blinder from him. 26 goals is fantastic. I wasn't expecting that. Brilliant from him. Only 12 wins in the season, but they've done enough. 5 draws and 21 defeats. 63 goals scored, so good going forward. Really good going forward. Best team in the bottom half there. Best team out of the top 5, actually, so really, really good. 78 goals conceded, though. It's definitely on the higher side, but it is to be expected. Worst defence in the league, but the goals they got going forward really did just steer away from relegation battle. As you can see there, well, apart from Brighton, they had over double the amount of goals as every single club below them. So that is where they survived relegation very comfortably. Obviously, they didn't score much goals. We'll be talking about a whole different season here, but very entertaining games as well for Southampton. 63 goals scored. Cannot complain at that. Let's check out the data hub here then. Well, goals per game, better than average. Non-penalty XG per 90 as well, much better than average as well. Conceded per game is very lower than the average, and same with XG against per game. As I said, it doesn't really matter. Going forward, they're so good, it doesn't really matter what they do at the back there. So, brilliant season from Southampton. Really, really good. Different to Villa and Man City, they actually had a poor start to the season. A very, very poor start to the season. Looked very worrying, actually. Lost the first 5 league games of the season. And actually only scored 1 goal in the first 5 league games. So, they really were struggling. It got a little bit better after that. They won 4 of the next 6 there. But then they lost... Well, they had another poor run of form towards the World Cup. Lost away to Liverpool 7-1. Beat Fulham at home 5-0. Lost away to Brighton 4-3. It seems like they were a lot better after the World Cup. Some great wins in here. Beat Arsenal 5-3 at home as well, which is fantastic. Beat Liverpool at home 5-1. What a result that is. Orsic with a casual 5 goals in that game. Nice. They did get Virgil van Dijk sent off, but still, Orsic with 5 goals. Brilliant from him. Let's check out the FA Cup run then. Well, they actually lost to Man United in the final 2-0, so cannot be ashamed of that. Beat Wolves in the semi-final at Wembley. Also beat Man City 4-3 in the FA Cup quarter-final. Orsic with 4 goals in that game as well. He's a big game player, in the Orsic. Unbelievable from him. They beat Brentford in the FA Cup 5th round as well. Beat Leicester in the 4th round. So a great FA Cup run for Southampton. Unfortunate not to win it at the end, but brilliant season from them. Absolutely brilliant. Also beat Newcastle 5-3 on the final game of the season. So absolutely fantastic. Well, I don't think it's any surprise who's going to win Player of the Season for Southampton. Orsic, 33 goals in 45 games and 4 assists. Absolutely brilliant from him. What a sensational player he's been. He's got 16 finishing. He got 16 finishing and great pace as well. So yeah, not too surprised to see him score so many goals. But yeah, it is a little bit surprising. I don't know how many goals he's scored in real life since he signed, but it can't be too many. But in FootballManager, he's been an absolute beast. So look at that. Second best player in terms of average rating is Sekou Mara. Didn't start a single game in the entire season. 10 games off the bench and 2 goals with 7.1. So when he was called upon, he delivered. Also, Che Adams, 21 goals and 10 assists. A bit overshadowed by Orsic there, but he definitely did his part as well. James Ward-Prowse, the captain, 6 goals and 10 assists. Fantastic from him. Stuart Armstrong as well with 2 goals and 9 assists. So yeah, what a brilliant season. Orsic and Che Adams up front really did set them on their way to survive relegation there. Brilliant, brilliant season for Southampton. And that is the end of the video, guys. I'd say it's been very successful, this tactic. Man City were underwhelming, but look at the other 2 clubs. Villa, 8th in the league and won the FA Cup. Southampton, miles clear the relegation battle and also got to the FA Cup final. So brilliant from them too. Man City, underwhelming. But all in all, this tactic has been successful. I would highly recommend it, to tell you the truth. And it looks like it works well for the lower league end clubs. And it failed for Man City, but Southampton Aston Villa had a brilliant, brilliant time of it. So that's the end of the video, guys. Please remember that if you do like this video, hit that like button for me. And also, if you want to see more videos from me, do make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. It really helped me out, and I much appreciate it as well. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.